a reprise of a message given by Barb following the current events that occurred on September 11th of 2001. Barb's goal is to remind us of the day America was brought to its knees and the struggle to rebuild our faith and recover our hope that followed. The title of her speech is Beyond Tragedy, 9/11 Revised. Please help me welcome Barb Dearden.
The parsonage phone jolted me awake to hear, "Pastor Barb, turn on your TV. Something tragic is happening in New York." Fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, thus was I awakened that Black Tuesday, September 11th, 2001. Dust bunnies and other aspects of daily living had to be ignored as I watched events unfolding in New York, 3,000 miles away. The day was a day of infamy that rivaled the bombing of Pearl Harbor. Rooted in my memory is the image of my grandfather by the radio listening for hours to what was transpiring in Hawaii. Comparatively, I watched for endless hours the destruction and havoc wrought by planes crashing into the World Center's Twin Towers. It is said that a picture is worth 1,000 words. And the heinous act of terrorism that day provided thousands of pictures of the suffering of innocent people, thousands of pictures depicting the heroism of the firemen and the policemen and the other rescuers, and thousands of words of trying to make sense of the senseless. The day was a day forever that changed America, how to make sense of the senseless. To solve the dilemma, we were tempted to resolve the ambiguity by our own efforts. Church attendance soared as thousands thronged the pews, searching for divine wisdom, to clear confusion, and to find the resolution and reconciliation needed. In a Seattle prayer vigil, mosque leader Jamil Razak reminded Muslims that to cause the death of one innocent person is to cause the death of all innocent persons. The perpetrators of Tuesday's attack violated the very tenets of their own faith. The mood of the country could be summed up by these words: "We are wounded, but we will bind up our wounds with the resolve and the strength of our citizens." I believe those were Governor Locke's words. That resolve and strength had to be tempered with patience as a search to identify the terrorists and to bring them to justice, along with their supporters and those that harbored them, continued. The following excerpts from the writings of Thomas Paine are as timely today as they were at the time that we fought for our independence from the British. He wrote in his American Crisis that these are the times that try men's souls. The Saturday soldier and the Sunday patriot will in this crisis shrink from service to their country. But if he stands to it, he will win the love and thanks of every man and woman. Tyranny, like evil, is hard to conquer. Yet we have this consolation with us. The harder the conflict, the greater the triumph. What we obtain too easily, we esteem too lightly. It is dearness only that gives everything its value. He concluded, I have as little superstition in me as any man living, yet it is my opinion, and has been my opinion, that God Almighty will not give people up to military destruction or leave them unsupported to perish, who have so earnestly and repeatedly sought to avoid the calamities of war by every decent method that wisdom could invent. Neither have I so much of the infidel in me, he said, as to believe that God Almighty has relinquished the government of the world and given us into the care of devils. He, of course, was referring to the British, but his words were just as appropriate when headlines screamed, America under attack, or a present American crisis. Neither do I believe that God has abandoned us or given up on us in the wake of that tragedy. Billy Graham said that this was a time for America to confront her spiritual needs and not to implode as the Twin Towers did, but to rebuild on a foundation of God and our faith. This event, he said, could be the time for hope for the present and the future. We did climb up off our knees. We coped. We found renewed hope. We bound up our wounds with strength, courage, and dignity. And we had a more united America as a result of that, or in the wake of that tragedy. When Pearl Harbor was bombed, cries went up all over America. Remember Pearl Harbor! I don't remember that we shouted. Remember the Twin Towers! But that event, that time, is as deeply engraved in our hearts as